everybody, welcome back. I know you've probably missed us for a few months, and I will apologize for that, but I definitely am excited to be back with our market overview show. And we got Mr. Steve Payne with us here today with all of his data information, and we're going to talk about what's been going on in August and in September, and how those 2 months have looked. And, I've taken a chance to look this over, and I can tell you, if you're watching the news, you're probably still hearing doom and gloom out there, but our market is just not doing that, is it, Steve?
No, it's not. It's really amazing that the trend is just, it seems like it's leveling off, but it's still just glory,
Oh man, it's like, it's almost like when we came into the whole COVID situation, it was like the brakes kind of got pumped for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then it just took off.
Yeah, and it's there's nothing. I really anticipate that we're going to keep doing this with all the jobs moving in, but
yeah, I agree.
It is just, trying to find a deal though. That's the downside.
Yeah.
The market's so good, you can't find a deal.
Well, and that's a lot of what we're going to help you guys understand today is we're going to dig into the data so that you guys can get a crystal clear understanding of where Madison County, Limestone County, and Morgan County are compared to a year ago, and what we look like last month of August moving into September. Yes, we're in October now, but obviously we don't have the data for October. It's not over yet. But we really want you to understand, our market is not doom and gloom right now. Like Steve said, the surface level properties are almost impossible to find. They're just not there. They're surface level for a reason. Everybody can see them. The best deals that we're finding are coming below that surface level. It is, finding direct to sellers. And guys, I've been saying this as long as me and Steve have been doing these shows. I can't tell you the last time I bought a house off the MLS. That's how long ago it's been, but we're still actively doing deals, but it's not surface level deals. It's below surface level. And you kind of got to dig into that. You got to figure out strategies. November's meeting is all about foreclosure investing. That'd be a great meeting to come out to, because we're not only going to be talking about what is foreclosure investing? What is a judicial and a non-judicial? What is redemption rights? What are timelines? How do you, look up liens? How do you do this with foreclosures? But also, how do you find a foreclosure before it becomes a foreclosure so that you can get ahead of it? And so that's kind of some of the stuff we're going to be talking about in November. To Steve's point, how do you find those deals? You got to get below the surface level, right? So November is going to be great. It's free for everybody. We're back at the hotel again. I'm not charging a door fee. We're just trying to get everybody back that wants to come back. If you don't want to come back, you don't have to. But we are ready. So many people have emailed me and sent text messages to me. They're ready. Now, yes, we have to, meet the hotel standards of social distancing, and we have to take both ballrooms, chairs have to be spread out, but we have to wear a mask outside of the room. But when you're in the room, it's your choice to wear it or not. So just know that when we get back, coming November 5th, if you're watching this before then, get over to our meetup page. Let us know you're coming. We'll be happy to see you out there. Steve, you going to be with us in November?
I plan to. Yes, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Awesome. Yeah, I've never done this class before with our local group. So this will be the first time I've done foreclosure training to our local group. So, all right. Well, Steve, let's, now that we've kind of covered a couple of our what's upcoming, let's talk about the market. So walk us through, let's start at the bottom. I'm going to pull this up on the screen, and then let's start with Morgan County and then work our way up and end on Madison County this time. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So let me know if you can see it, Steve.
I can see it.
Awesome. All right. So let's dig into Morgan County here.
Now, I hope everybody notices that Morgan County prices are starting to come up.
Yes.
They have come up significantly. I'd say $20,000 this year. If on the median sales price, which is not a surprise to me because people are looking for houses and you get a bigger bang for the buck in Morgan County. For the same size house, you'll pay $70,000 less.
Well, and you know what's surprising to me too is watching Morgan County. I know you call it quantity sold. I call it unit sold. The number of houses sold um, has been just going up and up and up. I mean, it's matching what Limestone was a year ago. I mean,
Right.
it's catching up and it's still moving.
Correct. Yeah, they've had more houses sell. Let's see the increase in listings. Isn't that interesting? No, that's in quantity sold. Okay, so a
Quantity
year
sold,
ago it
right.
was 120,
And now it's 147. Which a
147.
year ago in Limestone, it was like 140 something, 140, 140. I can't remember the exact number. Oh, it's on the sheet. Hold on. Limestone a year ago, 149.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like when that's what I'm saying. It's like it's coming up on where Limestone's at. And I mean, I'm just shocked that, we had this same discussion. I want to say it was like 4 months ago, maybe even 5 months ago. Who knows? It could have been a year ago. We've been doing these a long time now, Steve.
Yeah, a couple of years.
um, but I kept asking the question, do you think Morgan County is going to break that 200,000 mark? And you said, man, if inventory stays low and volume keeps going up, yes. And their average sales now over 209, mediums at 182. But man, they're moving in that direction.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it's climbing. And I'm not surprised. Again, you know, people are looking for the biggest house they can afford.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. And that's why they're seeing a year. I mean, you're talking a $7 million increase in volume from year over year in Morgan County.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for September. And then you look at, was it August? I mean, they've grown from August to September. Units sold 139 to 147. Volume sold 29 million to 30 million. Average sales price went down a little bit. But in medium sales price went down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what triggered that.
I'm not sure. It looks to me like a hiccup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, wait a minute, went down, you say?
Well, if you look at
Oh,
Morgan
oh yeah,
County
yeah,
in
from
August, it was
August to September.
211
Right.
average and then 209 in September.
Yeah,
So,
I'd say that was probably an insignificant decrease,
yeah.
$3,000 or $2,500.
I mean, they're holding at that 340, 330, 340 inventory. I mean, that's still low inventory. I mean, and it's not like Morgan County is a big market, but it's still low inventory.
It's very low, and
Yeah.
it hasn't. Morgan County isn't normally that low on inventory.
Yeah.
That's the surprise there to me.
And are all the markets, let's see, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.1, 2. Yeah, two and a
They're
half months. All the markets are hovering at 2.5 months of inventory. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's
yeah.
crazy. So what do you see with Morgan County? Obviously, the numbers, I mean, over the months, Morgan County's just steadily been proving a lot of people wrong, even myself, with what it's been doing and growing and how it's been growing. And I mean, where do you see Morgan County going? Have you heard anything with like inside the city? Are they doing anything that's going to improve investor relationships? Have you heard anything like that?
Yes, they definitely have gotten more business friendly. I do believe that it's now, I haven't talked to any flippers in Morgan County lately because one of the biggest problems that we encountered was like forget the name of the group, community uh,
Development?
development group. They
Yeah.
were a pain. They
Yeah.
cause you all kinds of grief and
I
heartache when you're trying to
know.
flip a house.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard that in the last 4 months. Now, I don't know if that's true or not because I haven't talked to somebody that I know we didn't have any trouble.
On your flip that you guys just did?
Yeah, but we sold that thing in March.
Yeah.
So or April.
I haven't heard anything neither, but there again, man, honestly, I feel like I'm out of the loop because we're not having our monthly meetings, and so
Right.
like, you're so accustomed to getting together monthly and like talking to people and hearing what's going on and issues and challenges and, successes and wins and losses and we just haven't had that.
No.
So, I'd kind of feel like I'm out of the whole what everybody's up to and doing. So,
Right. Yeah.
those meetings say a lot about just how much you stay involved when you're in those meetings. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so good to talk to people. What are you up to? What's working for you?
yeah. Or even, what roadblocks have you hit? Is somebody, did somebody in the city do something? Like you hear things, right? And obviously, as well as I do, you hear more about complaints than you do success in most cases. So, but yeah, I'm glad we're getting back out. So, all right. So Morgan County is steadily on a climb. Let's go into Limestone County now.
Okay. Now here, that average sales price in September was a shocker. That was $171,000. Um, that that was a huge jump to me. Now, am I looking at? Oh, okay. I'm looking at September, right?
Well, August and September, Limestone went into
Uh,
the 270s.
right. Yeah. I was looking at the wrong month, but it did. It went up from a year ago. It was 250. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
now Limestone County, it bumps up and down.
It
It's
really does. As long as we've been looking at this data, it's been doing this.
mhm.
The whole time it's been doing that. Now, here's the thing I want to point out to it. It's not doing this as in it's going up and then it's like going up, coming down a little bit, then going back up, coming down a little bit, and then going back up. It's on a steady increase. So it's never dropping lower than, where it was coming into the dip. But it has been an up and a down market.
In the Limestone County market, to me, this again, it might be just a momentary dip, but look at that average days on the market in September.
Yep.
I've never seen it that low in Limestone County.
26 days.
26 days.
Hmm.
That's phenomenal, and that means they're selling. They're selling quickly.
Well, and here's the other thing: they didn't sell, and it's so funny looking at this data because you've got 26 days on the market in September, but you have less houses sold in September than were sold in August in Limestone.
Right. I think Limestone. The August sales probably thinned out the houses, and so there's less houses, but an equal number being sold, or near equal.
Yeah.
So it's 214 sold
Yeah.
in the current period, as opposed to August 231. Well, 231 is a lot of houses in Limestone County.
That's
So
50% of what's active almost.
yeah,
It's like 40% of what's active.
right. So you didn't have as many
That's
houses
like
there.
they're selling almost half of the inventory that goes on, and then more's coming back on, and then they're selling another. Let's see, what is that? 5, 10, 40% in September they've sold of the active inventory. That's moving some inventory.
The East Limestone, most of those are new houses.
Oh yeah, what's it? 80% of them out there are pretty much new. But
Yeah.
didn't that slow down over the last 6 months though, over in that area? Somebody was telling
I
me
haven't
that
seen a slow.
the new builds in East Limestone you didn't see slow down.
I haven't seen a slowdown. Now they may be building less houses. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I wasn't out there. There was an investor I was talking to, and he was telling me that East Limestone new construction has slowed down. And I don't know. Now, this was like 4 months ago, and I don't know if it was just because of the lending debacle that we were going through, and lenders weren't sure what they were going to do yet. And, so I don't know if it had anything to do with that, which I assumed that it did because, lenders were pulling back on new construction. They were pulling back on rental properties. I mean, they were pulling back on just about everything. So, but now, I mean, they're lending wide open again, or the ones that I work with are definitely lending.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. I've had lenders call me up and say, when you going to bring me another deal?
Yeah, that's exactly what. Yeah, I'll never forget the one that I work with a lot. She called up. She's like, Zach, we're ready to go. Like, where's the loans at? Let's go. I'm like, cool. I was like, that's what I like to hear.
Now people are sending me spreadsheets with their rates.
Are they really? Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
they're getting back out there.
they're
So
marketing. They are. They
that's
want a
awesome.
loan.
That's awesome.
Another thing, I'm sure all of our members already know it, but lumber prices just went through the roof.
Listen, I have some contractors I work with, and they're builders. And they said that almost all of their new builds have been put on hold because of the pricing of lumber right now. Like
That's
he's just like the homeowners have put them all on hold because they don't want to pay that 15 to 20% that these lumber packages have increased on.
Well, I think that might have been the builder that you talked to or the investor that you talked to 4 months ago. But what I think our builders have learned is that increases the price of the house like $15,000, but people are still willing to pay it.
Yeah, no, this was a contractor who was already had signed a contract with a homeowner at a price to build. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't, he couldn't go buy this lumber now at the same price that he had quoted the job.
Right.
So he had to put it on pause. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I was like, golly, that's too bad. I mean, look, I've just been wrapping up my front porch and watching over the last 4 months the prices go up. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, cedars, if you can even find cedar, my porch is built out of cedar. So it's like I'm having to go all the way to Arab to buy cedar to finish my porch out.
So well, you found the source.
I did. Oh, I definitely dug until I found it. So,
really good.
But you couldn't get it. We just couldn't get it. I mean, it was just, oh man. So yeah, anybody that's out there building, if you're remodeling and part of your remodel is really like a gut rebuild or add an addition, it's not the same prices that we were paying 8 months ago or even 6 months ago. I mean, the demand for lumber right now with everybody home and all the honeydew lists and the projects and not being able to cut lumber. And I mean, there's, all the things that are going on.
And the hurricanes.
Yeah. I mean, you take all of those natural disasters take precedence over shipping lumber to Home Depot. Like government steps in and says, no, redirect all building supplies this way. And it puts a bottleneck on the lumber suppliers. You got to remember, before I got into the real estate space, I used to work for a lumber supplier. I mean, it was called Meeks Lumber out in California, and we sold lumber and plywood and LVLs and joists and hanger, you name it, whatever you needed to build a house, we sold it. And that's what my job was. And I was just thinking about this driving down the road the other day. Because, I was with them all the way up until, I don't know, 2000. Oh, I don't know. What is it? Let's see. 10/8, 2002-ish, maybe 2003, somewhere in there. Anyways, but I started seeing that and I stayed with them for a little while longer, but I was thinking about the parallel of where the lumber market was in 2005, 2006, 2007. And it had gotten to a point to where, man, lumber was so expensive. Like it was so expensive to buy a sheet of OSB plywood or even just a pre-cut stud. And what happened right after that?
The market crashed.
The market crashed. And I remember going back and looking at those lumber prices do this, and then it was just stagnant and it dropped.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the supply companies were begging you to buy the lumber at cost to get it, because they wanted to get it off of their yards because it's a perishable item, right? And they were like, look, if it sits, we're going to lose on this. And so they were just trying to give it away so they could get it off their yard. And I just remember that, and I was having a reflection on that riding down the road the other day, and I thought, man, I wonder if this is a sign too, like, is it a repeatable sign with this lumber pricing from 2006 and 7 to where we are now? But like you said, Huntsville's a very isolated area, with the amount of jobs that are coming in and our infrastructure here. Yeah, let's be honest. Are there people in our market that are going to get hit with foreclosures? Yes. Are there people that are going to lose their house? Yes, they already are. I mean, I go look in the paper today. I looked in the paper on Thursday, and just in Morgan County, there was 2 pages of foreclosure filings,
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah. So
Hmm.
it's not like a hidden thing. I mean, we just don't look hard enough for it, right? It's at under the surface level.
Right.
And be honest, a lot of people don't really know how to go after a foreclosure once they find it, right? But my point to that is that's going to increase, even though we may not feel it as a market condition, because if we go back to '08, Steve, there was something like 90 something percent of all Americans got affected by the foreclosure meltdown and the mortgage crisis, right?
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the masterminds I'm in, and some of the, the economists that are in there that really study these markets a lot more than I do, they talk about how, look, it's not going to be near as bad. We might see 50% of Americans or homeowners get affected like we did in '08. So, but still that creates an opportunity for investors to find inventory that's going to need to be sold. If not, it will go to the auction block, and
Hmm.
we'll see an increase there as well. And 6 months down the road, we'll see an increase in REOs, but not like we used to have around here. I mean, it was beautiful days, but so
It was. It was.
it
I
really
remember
was.
I was selling 4 HUD houses in 1 month.
Yeah, man. Like,
Other realtors said, "How can you do that? Because it's so much trouble to sell a HUD house."
yeah.
It was like, once you get used to it, it's easy.
Well, you got to have the right agent to do a HUD deal, though. I tell people that all the time. You got to have an agent that understands HUD, has dealt with HUD. If you're going to go after HUDs, get the right agent on your team to do that. So,
Yeah,
because I mean, well, one, you got to have that agent, but two, they understand the process and how to get it done. So,
exactly. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody that had a HUD house under contract for 3 months, and I was like, why? HUD is so predictable. I love HUD. They're so predictable.
well, and you've been down that road, so you know how to get them done.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've never had a HUD deal that closed in 30 days. Never.
they used to,
Never.
but they changed it. Now they make you put 45 days on the contract now.
Yeah, it was like it always took anywhere from 6, sometimes 8 weeks to get them closed, and we just knew that going in. Like we were just like, look, this is going to take longer. But I've bought quite a few HUDs. Not, I mean, I haven't bought thousands of them or even hundreds of them, but I've bought quite a few. So, all right, Steve. So, what's the prediction for Limestone? What do you think what's going to come unfold in Limestone over the next 6 to 12 months?
The thing that is interesting to me is that the volume has just, look at the change in the volume, 55%. Can you
Yes.
imagine?
Volume sold 37 million to 58 million. Yeah, that's a huge increase. I don't think you can hit that increase with just an additional 60 something houses. So it's got to be price point, right?
It's those new houses, I
Yeah,
believe.
it's all that new houses. So I think if they can't keep building new houses, that volume sold is going to come back down.
And there was a meeting, I met with somebody yesterday that was telling me that there are some people, it was a foundation guy, and he was telling me there are some people out there that the company, like Facebook, they're building a Facebook plant here. And they're saying the Facebook company will buy their employee a $700,000 house at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
And is that what that is?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be. But I mean, that Facebook plant, not to say this is where you're going with this, I mean, it was only going to have like what, 15 people that were going to work in it?
I don't know.
That,
I'm not.
that was like the whole buzz thing about the plant coming here. It was going to be like one of their first plants. It was going to be like fully automated. It was going to have like maybe 15 staff. And which was, obviously a letdown. Yeah, we're going to get taxes off of that as a state, but we don't get a big bump in employment because of it. So
I had heard like 115 is what I had heard.
maybe it was 115 and I just got 15 stuck in my head. So maybe that is the number. But, 100 jobs is still good jobs, especially in Limestone.
Especially if they're giving them $700,000 houses.
Look, hey, giving someone a $700,000 house is nice if you can still pay the taxes on it, right? So it's like somebody says, I wish somebody give me $1 million house. I'm like, no, you don't. You're going to be able to cough out $10,000, $15,000 in taxes or more. So, all right. So Limestone, you feel like, what's your gut feeling on Limestone?
I think the prices have pretty much stabilized. I'm not seeing a huge increase from month to month in Limestone County. Yeah. They caught it with Madison County almost, and they're still trailing Madison County slightly. So I think price increases are leveling out. I think we'll see that as time goes by a little more.
Gotcha.
But the days on the market are still staying fairly low, and the inventory is definitely low. So it could still keep climbing. The biggest problem in Limestone County, again, is, they're going from a population of, 140,000 people to a population of 240,000 people. So it's growing. Those people have to find new houses. They're buying new houses.
That's true.
True. But there's still opportunity. If you want to live in Limestone County and you have a flip, or if you have a rental property or something like that, it's going to go quick, because there's not a lot of choices.
Well, no, not with 543 properties active on the market. So,
right. Which is still a lot more than Morgan County.
Yeah, but the population's a lot more in Limestone County, right?
It wasn't then. It wasn't just a few years ago. Morgan County was much bigger, but as far as population, but I think Limestone County has probably caught up.
Gotcha.
Because of the growth.
Well, let's talk about Madison. One thing I did notice in Madison was talking about inventory was our inventory keeps going down, down, down.
Yeah. Every month it drops down a 10.
Oh my goodness, we were at a historical low in July. Oh, we're at a historical low in August. We're at a historical low in September. It's like, oh my goodness, it's like we are just gobbling up houses left and right. So
right. And the volumes, look at the volume.
Oh, I know, that's insane.
45%.
Yeah. 211 million jumped to 224 million in 1 month, but year over year, it jumped almost $100 million. $75 million in volume sold. I mean, that is a massive jump.
It is.
Massive jump.
And the quantity sold a year ago it was 627. Now it's 778.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
Matt, this is one of those things. Like, it's like, when does this train slow down? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I wish I can't get it out of my mouth. I wish I had the answer every time someone asks me, Zach, when's this train going to slow down?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, gosh, like all the numbers say that it's still going.
It is. Yeah.
Low inventory, low days on market. You take all of those and increase in sales month over month over month. I mean, jobs coming in. I mean, there's no way to say like it's going to end in next year. I mean,
no.
There's a point, I think, with all of those economic indicators that are all positive. I still think even with all those positive, there is a breaking point, which is affordability index. It's like, as the prices keep going up, I mean, as well as I do, where rents have gone over the last 3 years, where sales prices have gone over the last 3 years. Not a lot of jobs here uh, in that average living areas and that B type neighborhood seat have gone up that much in salaries, right? I mean, I think I read a statistic the other day that said the average job that's earning under $100,000 sees a 2% increase in their salary every year. Where we have rents going up way more than 2%,
Oh, yeah.
home sales way up more than 2%. So this is my only debate here, that the market might have some flexibility to withdraw its growth plan, which is affordability index. And so I think, like, okay, when are we going to hit that point to where people are just going to be like, I can't afford it?
Well, the new jobs coming in are really nice paying jobs. I think they're going to raise the average salary in the county. And as long as that goes or continues, then I don't see it happening in the near future, because the average salary is going up. And also there's a shortage of labor. The construction industry, I still talk to contractors, and they say,
Don't even get me started on that, Steve.
I know, they can't find people, skilled labor that were.
Oh, I can't tell you. I mean, I don't have as many rehabs as I used to keep going, right?
Right.
I think right now we only have 5. But these projects are taking us longer to finish right now. You know, we used to be in and out in 3-4 weeks, and, you know, on a good flip. Man, we're 6 weeks, sometimes 8 weeks now, because
that's phenomenal.
Huh?
Everybody else I talk to is much higher.
Well, I mean, we got to solve, but we're still waiting. You know what I mean? Like, we're waiting. Oh, well, the floor guys, you know, he's this many weeks out. The gutter guy's nine, you know, he can't get here for 10 days. Oh, the air conditioner guy, oh, he's, you know, 7 days out. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know.
Right.
But I mean, we are a little fortunate that, you know, we do know multiple people, and, you know, we can keep projects humming along. But I mean, I'm not gutting a lot of houses right now. I mean, we're lipstick on a pig and moving on kind of model. But that's always been my model, you know. I mean, I don't get into the whole HGTV style properties. I'm not that kind of flipper. And for me, it's just get in, get out, get paid, move on to the next one. So, but I mean, I feel your pain, and I know anybody that's watching this that is doing a rehab, they're feeling that pain too. I mean, it is tough to keep a tight timeline right now when you've got all these plants coming in that are paying people 2 times, 3 times what we're willing to pay them. And so they're moving over, they're going over there. They're working on, there was a guy, what was his name? He was doing, you know, just general work for us. We were paying him $20 an hour. I forget the plant. What is the plant out here? They're pouring like 100,000 square feet of concrete or something crazy like that.
Toyota Mazda.
We lost him to Toyota Mazda because they paid him $50 an hour.
58?
$50 an hour.
50. Okay.
To go out there and work.
Well, yeah, I'd say you would lose him.
It's 150% more than what the going rate for that type of person was in our industry, you know?
Amazing.
And so, and he even told me, he said, Zach, there's a lot of guys that are coming over here because of this, you know?
Right.
You can't argue with the money. And I'm like, phew.
So I just don't see us running into that showstopper. I don't see a showstopper coming up.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I could be proven wrong.
Well, I mean, none of us have a magic ball, right? I mean,
right.
You're very positive on the market. I'm always throwing out the curveballs on why the market might turn.
Well, I mean, you've been through it, and so have I. You know, we've seen.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We've both been through it, and I am looking for those triggers, right? Like, what's that trigger? Is it going to be? Is this the trigger, or is this the trigger? You know, because you just never know what that one. Like, who knew that, you know, we were going to get a bump out of Corona, right? Who knew, right? Who knew that I would be. Over the last 6 months, I've been so busy with real estate. It's been insane. Who would have thought that? I thought, okay, we're still going to keep moving because we're not going to stop. But I didn't think that it was going to be like it is, or it has been over the last 6 months. I mean, goodness, if it's like this for the next 6 months, I mean, all your focus needs to be is finding below surface level deals.
You know, and I've been owner financing houses, and 2 years ago, they couldn't have, they had their down payment, you know, a $15,000 down payment. That cut us down to looking for a $50,000, $60,000 house. Now I'm still got owner finance deals going, but it's nothing for them to have $30,000 down payment.
I love it, man. I love it.
I know.
So let's just run through the numbers and we'll let everybody go, Steve. I mean, we could talk for hours about real estate stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So Madison County increased for month over month. If we look at August, September, 735 units sold to 778 units sold in September.
Right.
Still moving its train up. We'd already talked about volume going up. It jumped to almost, what's that, 13 million. Average sales price hovering the same. Look at that. And it dropped from medium sales price in August to medium sales price in September. So maybe this is where it's starting to stick, you know? Maybe
I think the prices might be leveling out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is that. Maybe it is the stick. I mean, if our average sales price got over 300,000, like I would have never in my life, Steve, thought that Huntsville's average home price would have been over $300,000.
I agree.
Like I honestly thought that it was gonna get to 250 and it was gonna hover. That was my belief, and I think we even talked about that on one of these shows, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going. So. Yeah, that's just crazy. I mean, this is all good signs. There again, I always say, look, signs are great. Invest now, but walk with caution because you don't know which one of these indicators is going to pop, right? And so we just don't know. And it doesn't mean the market's over. It may mean we can't play speculation because there are a lot of investors out there that are speculating. Well, I'm willing to pay more because by the time I get done with the rehab, it's going to be worth more than what it is today. Well, guys, that's speculation, and that's what got so many investors in trouble from 2007 to 2010. They played that speculation game and got their butts handed to them. That's why they lost houses. They were upside down. They had to foreclose on themselves, abandonments, deed in lieu of foreclosure, like you name it. That was the domino effect with speculation for investors. So don't play that game too often. Because you just don't know. Like, for example, if you're playing speculation right now and prices are leveling off, then you've already lost. Lost, you know? And so be careful with your game. Be careful with how you invest. But who knows? We don't have a crystal ball. We can't guarantee any of this information. All we can say is we can guarantee what the data has said behind us, but not in the future. And it might go up. Who knows? I mean, we're moving into our slow months.
And another thing that's important is I just read an article that said that Huntsville, Alabama was the highest in the nation on rental increase.
Yeah.
On residential.
I believe that. Listen, I can't find a house that people aren't ready to rent it right now.
Right. So we've got a shortage there.
Major shortage. That's my number one focus right now. You know, I love the commercial side. It's my favorite place to play. But, man, there's a demand for 3-2 ranch-style single-family homes like nobody's business. And so it's like I want to fill that demand. So I can't tell you. I mean, as I run the RIA's Facebook page, I mean, I get flooded daily with people trying to post on that page. I mean, anywhere from 15 to 30 posts a day that – we just don't post them all because a lot of them just don't make sense. Some of them are retail stuff. Some of them spam. Some of them's all kinds of stuff. But I get a lot on a weekly basis of people saying, I have a renter looking for a rental property. I have a renter looking for a rental property.
Or even post on our website.
Yes.
Another important thing I think we should mention is that I was talking to an owner of a mini storage. They're doing fine, and they were getting up to 80% occupancy and they were real happy. And I said, well, that's just great. Well, I saw them recently and they said, we're 100% occupancy.
That's amazing.
And I've never heard of that in mini storage. And all these new mini
Actually,
storage.
that's not true. That was a big case when we came into 2010 through 2013. Mini storages were like overbooked, waiting list of people trying to get it because of the foreclosures.
I wasn't aware then. I didn't follow it then.
Yeah.
So
It was a hot
now,
commodity. Everybody was jumping in to buy storage units because of that. And then about 2016, 17, and really 18, a lot of the guys I knew that bought in back then was selling out now because they couldn't get them full, right? They couldn't get them over 60% in most cases, some 70. But then again, we had a strong housing market, strong rental market. People didn't need to store their junk and well, stuff, valuables. Let me not defend anybody.
yeah. But now it seems maybe this growth,
Yeah.
because look at all the new mini stores that are out there.
Well, that and all the employment that's coming in, maybe they're having to store until they buy a house, and maybe the house isn't as big as the one they had. I mean, who knows the case? I mean, I was just at an event on Friday of a bunch of real estate investors, and there was two guys in there they're running wide open buying storage units right now.
Well, that's what I found out is that the ones I was talking to, they said, hey, if you find any more mini storage, I want it. They're 100% now. They want more.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we can forget about, maybe it's back to mini storage again.
Look, and I think this is a good learning lesson for anybody that's hung on this long to watch us.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a big key takeaway, actually, is what Steve just said. The real estate market runs in these cycles, right? Like it's, many, and I try to tell people this, they say, well, what kind of investing do you do, Zach? Whatever the market needs at the time. Like, that's my investing mindset. That's my investing model. Like, I had somebody ask me the other day, why are you buying single families again? Well, because the market needs it for rental houses. So it's not that I don't want to be in houses. I sold my houses and went into apartments because at that point, that was where I saw the market going, was apartments. And I did right because, boy knows, I cashed out a third of them and did really well. So,
awesome.
Yeah. So it was like, it's that finding those opportunities. And like you said, maybe mini storage is back, maybe it's creating its cycle again.
And with those apartments, it's going to go back down. It's going to go back down. Then you can buy them again.
I said that when we pulled our entire fourplex small apartment, package here in Huntsville and Decatur and Athens, we pulled out all the lowest producers, right? The ones that were giving us the smallest returns, and it was about a third of them. And we had an idea of a price in our head, but we put them out there and we were getting way more than that. I was like, oh yeah. And I owned quite a few of them with another gentleman, and he was like, well, Zach, like, what are we going to do? I'm like, don't worry, man. I'm like, give this another 3 or 4 or 5 years. They'll all be back down again. We'll buy them all back up again. I'm like, it's a cycle, man. It's a cycle. Like, just get rid of them now, because listen, we had California investors paying us $20,000 to $40,000 above what they would appraise for.
Oh, God. You're kidding.
I'm not. And here was my negotiation, Steve. This is what I want. It will not appraise for this, so you need to bring the extra money to the closing table if you want it. That was my negotiation. I told him straight up, it will not appraise for this, but if you want it, you got to bring the extra money to the table.
Oh my goodness.
And they did. They sure did, man. Because look, even at those numbers, they couldn't get that in California, so.
Yeah, true. And with rents going up.
Oh, I know.
I guess that's speculation, boy, isn't it?
Listen, I still tell everybody, yeah, look, rents are going up and that's great. Enjoy it. But I think there's going to be an affordability index break there too, and I know I keep talking about this affordability index, but listen, I remember that was one major economic indicator that a lot of people overlooked in 08 through 010 when everything started turning, was they just weren't paying attention to this affordability index. It got to a point where people just couldn't afford it. Like, so what did they do, Steve? They said, oh, you can't afford to buy anymore? Well, we'll put a 1% teaser loan out there. Now you only got to pay 1% interest only payment for your first year, and then it'll adjust, but you can afford the house now because of the payment. So exactly. So it was like, okay, the affordability index got so high, people couldn't buy. So they offset that with a loan program that was called a teaser loan that put people in those houses because the payments were small, which they couldn't afford them anyways. So that's why I keep talking about this affordability index, right? It's like, is it going to get us? Is it going to burn us? So, well, Steve, this has been another great one. I always enjoy this. Guys, we know we talked about it. Inventory is still low. It's an historical low, even this month. So 2.1 months of inventory on the market it's crazy. If anything, you need to be getting stuff on the market. You need to be getting it on the market, getting it listed, getting it sold. But you're going to have to get off the surface level. You got to get down below it to find the deals right now. Average days on market, 25 days. This is all, we love all of this. We love all of this, but we got to get the inventory to make this work in our favor. But this is all indicators that the market is still strong. It's still moving forward. It hasn't slowed down. I just tell you guys, just always remember the market could change in a month. We just got to keep our eyes on it. So
yeah, watch that inventory.
Yes. This number starts spiking up, we got some issues, and this number starts spiking up, we got some issues. Inventory and days on market, those numbers go up, we got to turn in the market.
And when you flip a house, it might take you 3 or 4 months. So don't lose track of this number.
Yeah, and I think if I end this with leaving one piece of advice to everybody, and it's this. Be very aware of this average sales price and medium sales price from this month to last month to the month before, because you will see that it's flattening. And if you're playing speculation, you are going to get yourself in a little bit of a pickle if this thing flattens and dips at all. So just be careful with that. Steve, look, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you doing this and hanging with me here. I'm sorry we weren't able to do this the last couple of months. But things are slowing down a little bit for me.
For me too. Thank goodness.
So, guys, if you need to pick Steve's brain, please come out to the November foreclosure boot camp. He might be there with us. If not, you can always find Steve on Facebook. How else do they get to you, Steve, if they wanted to reach out?
Well, I've passed out cards and stuff like that. Now, I'm not doing the...
You're not being a realtor anymore, but you're still investing and meeting other investors. And
I do. I don't mind mentoring people. I'm not great at it like you are.
Well,
I only know a limited amount of things to do because I don't do any rental. I don't do any residential rental at all. I've always avoided it.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. You're a world of knowledge, man. You are a data guy, data, which we always like. Listen, I tell people, probably I've said it 1,000 times. I'd pay $1 million for Steve's Rolodex. Because you've got everybody in this town.
Man, I just picked up some new great contractors.
That's what I say. People say, well, I'm like, look, man, if you know Steve, reach out to Steve because, boy, he's got everybody in this town in his phone.
I just found some framers. I've never had framers before.
Oh, man. Framers, that's important. They can do additions. They can do, and they get in and bang it out and leave, man. So, all right, guys, listen, thanks for joining us at the Madison County Real Estate Investors Market Overview Update. We just talked about August and September. Hopefully, if you're on our website watching this, or if you're on Facebook watching this, go to our website, check out other ones that we have on there. We'll get this PDF down, or a link so you can download it inside of there as well. And just remember, invest smart, invest timely, and walk with caution, right? I mean, that's what investing is. And get educated. We'd love to see you at the RIA. Steve, thanks again for being here with us, my friend.
Hey, my pleasure.
Next time, we will see you all again. Bye-bye now.